Welcome to another edition of Counter Local Sports, being brought to you by DV Tracksuits and Tito Ocasios, John 31617 Boxing Club down in Ocala, Florida. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulties right now. He's trying to use the link and it's not allowing him. And now I think it is allowing him. Let me see. Yeah, okay. We finally got it to work, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize for the delay. But before we get started, let me give a shout out to Hector La Torre, who's always tuned in and watching. Dorian Velez and company. My good friend Pinklon Thomas is here. For those of y'all do not know, this is a former WBC heavyweight champion and was the first IBO heavyweight champion of the world. How you doing, Pinklon?
Hey, what's going on, Loco? Everything cool?
Everything cool, man. Everything cool, man. Tell us a little bit, man. How was it, man? You know, with that IBO, man. You were the first one to ever get that IBO heavyweight title, man. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, that was something, man. That was brought to me because at that time I made another comeback and was thinking about, uh, I was introduced to the IBO. They told me about it and said I had an opportunity to fight for it. And man, so I took that opportunity. I fought a guy named Craig Payne. Craig Payne claimed the fame was beating Tefilio Stevenson, who was a three-time Olympic champion out of Cuba. And he beat Mike Tyson. He also beat Mike Tyson in the amateurs and the nationals. So, but his record was deceiving. It was like 11-1. And so my manager was telling me, he said, Pink, man, you got to be real cool with this guy. He said, this guy, he's a barracuda. I said, man, come on, dude. Look at this guy, fat blob, and, the guy was big. He was like 6'3", about 285.
Right.
And so I said, oh, man, I'm gonna do a number on this guy. He said, look, Pink, I'm telling you, you got to watch this guy. He's strong. So anyway, I went into the fight, prepared for him. As a matter of fact, what happened, he was in George Foreman's camp for about a week. And they say George had kicked him out because, I guess he was putting a little something on George. So
Yeah.
anyway, so me and the guy we fought the first round, we went to the weigh-in, we weighed in, and I seen the big weight on the guy. I said, "Dang, it's crazy." And then, of course, after he ate, ate and stuff, he probably put on another 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the fight start, and the bing, ding, the bell go off, man, and me and the guy, we thumping. And first round over, we go back to the corners, and he don't sit down, and he do like George. George never sit down. And I'm sitting down, and second round, third round, fourth round, and hell, man, I'm feeling kind of tired. I'm puffing and stuff. And he's still standing up, looking stupid. He's looking good. I'm sitting over there looking stupid. I'm saying, man, what the hell? This guy ain't sitting down. You know, sixth round, seventh round. Now, mind you, instead of me slugging with this guy, I shouldn't have been slugging with him with all that weight. The guy had power. I'm sitting up there going punch for punch with him when I should have been boxing him, and moving around on him. And eighth round, ninth round, 10th round, man, he's still standing up, man. I'm saying, dang, man, I'm trying to think, how the hell I'm going to get to these other two rounds?
Right, right.
Well, finally, at the end of 12, man, the bell rang. Ding, it's over, man. The fight is over. And thank God. I'm thanking God it's over. And I see this guy, and the ref brings us out, and boom, I get a split decision. They raise their hands and split decision.
Right.
So, of course, yeah, I was the first IBO champion. And, that was a real good thing, man. So, but then what I wanted to do, I wanted to go after all the other titles, man. So it was a WBF title when I was going after that, man. And after I went after that title after I fought him, which was like 2 months later. And I had fought a tough 12-round fight. And what I didn't tell my people, I didn't tell nobody, I didn't tell my wife that, I was having headaches, man. My head was hurting me, killing me.
Mhm.
And but I wanted that fight because it came right back to back.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, Larry Holmes has said that if I won that WBL fight, that he was gonna, you know, was gonna, he was finally gonna fight me. And so hell, I'd have took that fight. I was gonna take that fight by getting out of the hospital.
Yeah.
But so anyway, yeah, I took that fight, and but I went into the fight too soon. That's the bottom line. And I was hurt. And after that fight, that was my last fight. Um, I was stopped in the eighth, ninth round. I was airlifted to the hospital. When I woke up, I seen my wife. She was crying. And I asked her what was wrong with her. And I looked up and I seen my manager and my cut man. And they were looking all teary-eyed and walked away. And I asked her, what's going on? She said, you don't know? I said, no. She said, Pink, you suffered a brain injury. I said, no kidding. She said, yeah. She said, you bleed from the brain. You have subdural hematoma. Said, if you continue to bleed by 6 o'clock in the morning, they're going to have to do surgery. And, what could I say,
Right.
And it was all in, I guess, it was only through the grace of God, man. I woke up that morning at 6 o'clock and I stopped bleeding.
Yeah.
I was told that I should totally retire, and they didn't have to tell me anyway. I was done.
Right. Right.
But what costed me that fight it wasn't that this guy was better or what have you. It was just that after you fight a tough fight like that, guys, and you fight them 10, 12, 15 rounds, like that's why they got rid of 15 rounds, because I think it was in 83, 84, 4 guys got killed after the 13th round. And that's why they brought it down to 12,
Yeah.
So what I didn't do and what you should do and what always was done, especially back in the day, if these fights, the big heavyweight fights that used to come on CBS and NBC, Wide World of Sports, at least 6 months, in between the fights,
Right.
To
Right.
give you time to heal, get yourself together, take off a little bit, and start back up and get back in shape.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I didn't do, man. I didn't take off. I didn't take no time off. I went right back into it with the headache. And I suffered an injury, I think, in that IBO fight. That's where it came from.
Right.
So, but that's what brought my career to an end. And but local man, I ain't got no doubt. I ain't got no regrets, man. I feel good.
You shouldn't have any, man. You had a hell of a career, man. A fun fact that many of y'all may not know, or maybe y'all are too young to know, man. And I wanted to ask you about this because I never did ask you about this, man. You went pro after 3 amateur fights only, man. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, local. I started training. I think it was like November 14th, 1977. I found the gym. And my trainer put me into a fight in the Golden Gloves, Tacoma Golden Gloves, January 26th, 1970. No, I'm going to say January 26th, 1978.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost the fight. I lost to a guy named Tommy Thomas. He was fighting out of Walla Walla Penitentiary in Washington State. He
Right.
had about 5 fights. The reason why he beat me was because he looked like a fighter and I didn't. He probably was doing, I was throwing blows. I was trying to get to the end,
Yeah.
And he had a little experience. So I guess he won looking good. And so 2 weeks later, we fought. I told him after the fight I was gonna whoop him in the Seattle gloves. He said, "No, man, And, I'm going down light heavyweight. So he did. And I ended up fighting another guy, preliminary fights, around February 10th, around my birthday, 2 weeks later. And
Right.
I fought this guy, his name was Big Blue something. He was out of Monroe Penitentiary. So I'm saying, dang, why I'm fighting all these guys out of prison? Man, this guy, big guy, looked like Sonny Liston.
Yeah.
And I said, dang, man. But anyway, I jabbed him, man. I had him bleeding, nose busted, lip busted. And I wanted to fight. But after that, uh, and before that, um, you know, 2 days before that, I was sparring with some local heavyweights down there in Seattle. It was Boone Kirkman and Ibar Iverton. And I was sparring with Ibar Iverton because he needed both of them fought Foreman, Larry Holmes, different ones. Well, hell, man, I was just getting my feet wet. I had just been in the ring, in the gym, not even too much. So my trainer took me down to Toro. They said, man, we need some boxing. I told them we need boxing too. So I boxed 3 rounds, and I thought that was it, and they needed one more round. They said, man, at least give us one more round. I got to
Right.
fight 8 rounds. And I said, Joe, man, I'm tired, man. I can't do this. He said, come on, Pink. He said, give him one more round. I said, okay. So, man, about last 15 seconds of that round, man, I was completely out of gas, man. And, these are them roundhouse guys. They threw them haymakers.
Yeah.
And look, man, I seen the punch coming. I was back on the rope. I seen the punch coming like a radar, but I couldn't get away from it.
Yo,
I was
those are
too tired to
your.
move. I was too tired to move. All I could do is breathe. And bam, I got hit with that shot, man. When I got hit with it, man, that was it. The bell rang. Ding. And, I went back to my corner and I told Joe, I said, man, my mouth is killing me, man. He said, let me see. He said, open up your mouth, move it around. And I moved around. He said, man, go get you some super bubble gum and chew it. You'll be all right. And
Damn.
I said,
Old school.
okay.
Old school.
Old school. So I did that. So anyway, of course, I went into that fight. I fought Big Blue. And then my jaw swelled all up after that. It was over with. But I had to fight the finals that night.
Mm.
So Joe said, man, we're going to my wife. We're going to go to home to my wife. She done cooked the roast and all that stuff. So we're going to eat. Yeah, I'm going to cool out, man. Watch football game. You just get you some rest. So he laid me down, put an ice pack on my mouth, and as he put my ice pack, I laid down for a couple of hours. No, about 2 or 3 hours.
Mm.
And went to sleep, woke back up. And he woke me up and said, hey, Pink, let's eat. So I said, okay, cool. So we get up, we go eat. And we sit down at the table and she fix our plates. And he cutting his meat and chewing, man. And I'm getting ready to cut mine and went to open my mouth, man, and tried to bite down and couldn't do nothing.
Right.
And I said, oh, man, Joe, I can't do nothing. I'm out killing. He said, man, why? He said, Martha, get him some cup of noodle soups. Says, so go up, you can give him a cup of noodle soup. He said, man, eat the noodles and drink all the juice. So I drank all the juice, ate the noodles up and laid back down for about an hour or two. Then he woke me up and said, okay, Pink, it's time to go. I said, okay, man. So we going. He took the ice pack off.
Mm-hmm.
So he took off. We take off. We stop at a drugstore. He said, Pink, he said, I'll be right back. I said, where you going? He said, don't worry about it. He said, you're going to the drugstore. I said, what you going to get? He said, don't worry about it. He came out with a bag. I said, what you got? He said, don't worry about it. So okay, man, thanks. So we get there. I'm the heavyweight, fighting the last fight,
Mm.
and the finals. So we get ready to fight. So they get ready. So he went in the bag he had, and he told me to open my mouth. He had an aspirin, and he said, he put this in my mouth where my tooth was, and he took some Red Cross medicine and he pulled it on top of that, and he put my mouthpiece in, and he said, bite down on it. And it was
Okay.
nasty. It
Okay.
was nasty as hell, And I said, damn. So,
Hey,
huh?
We got a question in the audience. Now I know this was a common question way back then in the days, but for the ones who didn't know, they want to know why the pink shorts and is there a meaning behind it?
Well, the meaning behind the pink shorts is because of my name. My name is Pink. That's what they used to call me, Pink, and my name, Pinklon Thomas. So everybody fight for nicknames. They let people name them in the crowd or what have you. But I didn't want to go through all that. So when I first started fighting, one of my first trainers, Jack Stafford, he passed away now, but I think it was, I don't know which one, about my fourth fight. He I had a Christmas tree green robe, like a velvet, and he bought a Pink Panther doll,
Oh,
and I had a Pink Panther doll tied to me. So when I come out, I had the Pink Panther, you know. And so yeah, that's where the pink come from, though. I said I'm always gonna have a touch of pink, no matter what, because it just matched my name.
right, man. Now I know that you was 24-0 with one draw by 1984, and that's when you first got your world title shot against WBC heavyweight champion Tim Witherspoon in August in Las Vegas. How was that feeling?
Hey man, it was nothing like that. I mean, to go and to prepare in the last 3 weeks. Well, Tim was from South Philadelphia, and at that time I stayed in Central Philadelphia, and I trained in North Philadelphia at Joe Frazier's. So his trainer was Slim Perkins, and Georgie Ben was my trainer, and they fought in that when they was coming up. So we both had similar styles. Um, yeah, good defense. He taught us that good defense, that good jab. So my thing was that our styles were similar. We was pretty much similar, uh, same height, reach, everything. Man, we was even. So what I wanted to do, man, I knew that I was gonna have to outclass him. I was gonna have to do a little bit more than he did uh, to come out on top. Um, what was funny though, Loco, getting ready for that fight was that Don King, I still hadn't signed with no promoter, and Don King told me, said, when we made the fight, and I went to Don, and I fought a guy over in Puerto Rico named Bruce Granum. He looked like Don King himself, all that hair, but he looked like the Hulk.
Mm,
And Don told me, he said, man, you beat this guy. It was on the show over there in San Juan. He
mm,
said, if you beat this guy, man, you're going to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. I said, man, you kidding me? He said, no. So, man, anyway, I fought this guy, and I beat him. I stopped him in the fifth round.
right.
And after I stopped him, man, I was happy, man. I was so elated. But
Yes,
then
you
after
did.
after jumping up and down and all that stuff, man, because I went through a lot of contractual disputes and management problems and stuff. So I was still managing them. I was paying guys to stay the hell away from me.
Right.
So I was happy, man. And then I thought about it. I said, dang. I said, now I'm getting ready to fight Tim Witherspoon. And Don King was the promoter. Carl King was the manager,
Mm,
you know. And I didn't have no promoter, of course, and I didn't have no manager. So I was going into this fight ass back.
mm,
I said, how am I ain't got an opportunity to even breathe hard in here.
right.
So I thought about Angelo, man, and I called him. And I called Angelo. I said, Angelo, man, I said, look, I got an opportunity to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. Would you be in my corner? And he said, yeah, no problem, Pink. I'd be glad to be in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
And I was happy. And then he said, I'll be your advisor. So he became my advisor, my trainer, my manager, everything. And I knew it was a good connection because he knew that everybody knew him,
Mm-hmm.
when it came to the judges and everybody around ringside, the referees. and they know he wasn't gonna take no jump, and he had my back, you know. So now I feel a little better going into the fight, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so all I had to do then is do my part. And of course, that's the problem with guys today, man. You know, they don't do their part. You
I
know,
know. I know.
you
We
know.
talked about this off air before. We'll leave that one alone, right?
Yeah, I ain't gonna talk. I ain't getting into that. I'm just saying in general. You know,
Yeah, in
guys just
general,
don't do their part. But
yeah.
I know the reason why I say that is because when I say they don't do their part, that's what you have to do once you get everybody in place.
Definitely.
Then you gotta do what you gotta do. Once you do that, it's all over.
And
So
man,
I
that Tim
did.
Witherspoon fight was not an easy fight. That was a 12 rounder that went woof. Boy, that was a tough fight you had there.
Yeah, man, you know, that was a jab. I wanted to jab him. I wanted to defense him. I wanted to make him miss. You know, I took it to his body. I seen I was getting him winded. You know, we put them combinations. We exchanged some hell of a combinations. You know,
Yeah,
but you know, the main thing I just had to stay in his face and I wasn't going to be running around moving backwards. You know,
yeah, yeah.
I had to stay on top of him. I had to out hustle him, and that's what I did all the way to the end, man. So I think if I would have had Angelo not in my corner, I might have had one of them political decisions that wouldn't have went my way, you know.
Right, right.
But I had a guy in my corner who was going to fight like hell to say, "Hey, you must be
Yeah,
crazy," you know.
yeah. And
You know.
once you beat him, man, I believe 10 months later you faced Mike Weaver and stopped him with one punch in the eighth round.
Yeah, yeah. Mike Weaver. Mike Weaver was a strong guy, man. A nice guy. One of the nicest guys you want to know. Me and Mike real cool right now, you know.
Yeah,
Um, that was a good fight too, you know, and he was good puncher, man. Had a good jab too. Um, somebody you couldn't take him light, you know. But you know, I was known to have one of the best left jabs in the business, man, and so I took claim to that. I took
right.
claim to that, man, and I worked on that. I worked on that jab, and I worked on my right hand. But you know, Loco, what's funny is this, and we talked about this off camera too, you know,
Yeah,
from about injuries.
yeah, we did talk about
After,
that.
but after the Witherspoon fight, man, I had a detached retina. That's why I was out for so long.
Yeah,
And that happened in a sparring session 2 days before the championship fight. So I couldn't let nobody know. And it was funny because I came back to the corner. It was the second or third round. And I said, Angelo, I said, I see three guys. He said, well, Pink hit the guy in the middle.
I remember that. I remember that.
Hey, you hit the guy in the middle, you know?
Yeah,
So, but yeah, man, I had to detach retina. And then, you know, yeah, I suffered so many injuries, man, but, you know, just had to work through them. Broken hands, broken jaw, broken nose. But you know, you don't give up. You don't get. You know, you give out before you give up. You know,
yeah,
and this is in life, and whatever you do, and goes to the fighter, this goes to the homemaker, this goes to the educator, this goes to the computer whiz, the electric the engineers, whatever. Uh, you know, you just gotta push forward, full speed ahead. You can't turn your back. You gotta look forward. You can't look back. You just gotta keep hustling, no matter what. You gotta out hustle the hustler until you get to where you gotta go. And then it ain't nothing in front of you but God that's gonna say, "Well done, my faithful servant." You know what I'm saying? Because you done put all your time, effort, and energy into it. You done dropped everything. You laid everything on the table. When you go in that ring, or you go in that job, or you go into that trade, or you go into whatever you going into, after you done did all you can do, you can't do no more.
that,
But
yeah,
you gotta do what you've got to do to get the job done.
Yes, sir. Man, look here, my brother E. Ortiz, that's my older brother, Pinklon. He wants to know what your thoughts are on today's heavyweights.
Well, I tell you, uh, what it is what it is. I'm not. It don't. It don't excite me no more, and I don't think it excites a lot of people. It's just not like it used to be. And it's funny, but what the promoters has done is they literally have taken it from the managers, and now they're locking up the fighters and trying to take a percentage of the fighter. You know, and the manager literally is cut out.
Right, right.
Believe it or not, I mean it's real. It's goofy crazy right now. I'm so glad. I am so glad that I'm not in this era of boxing. Um, I'm just so glad. But it's unfortunate that it's like that. But it's fortunate that there's some out there that's gonna excel and they're doing very well. And I wish them well, man. But the talent, the skills, the push, the for you to give, for them to have that all that fire that I'm sharing with you, it's just not there no more.
Mm.
And I'm gonna tell you why it's not there, man. Because like all them good old guys, them good old trainers, man, them old school guys, man, they give you that fire and they push you and they had that experience and see they train guys like myself have been trained by some greats and some of the greats, these fighters who have achieved greatness have become successful, have become with money in the bank.
Mm.
But what they don't do is they don't pass it on. They don't give it. They don't give back. That's why the sport is dying away because it's not. Hey man, like when you want to grow green grass, what you do? You put down your seeds, right?
Definitely.
And then you want a little fertilizer, you get you some weed and feed or something that's gonna turn it green and just gonna give you some nourishment, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So these guys don't have nobody to go to. What they have is young guys who are out there who are emulating what they've seen and what they've heard and what they've learned from watching and looking and listening instead of the hands-on experience. So the real experienced guys, they're moving on, doing what they got to do, living their life, living large, and the other guys out here. I'm talking to you on the real tip, because I mean that's what I feel. Because I think that these guys are not getting what they're supposed to get in the training, learning the real skills to entertain the people like they're really supposed to be entertained in the sport of boxing. All the spinning, the grabbing, the pulling, the slipping, the sliding, the catching. You don't see these things in the sport today. You see them delivering, you see them catching punches, or you see a knockout, or you see them playing pity pat. You know, but you don't see all the good charismatic fights, all the good stuff. And that makes the fights exciting. That make you want to jump up and down and get like you be fighting while it's on screen and stuff.
So you feel there's any of these old school trainers left?
It's not too many left out here,
You
man.
one of them though.
Well, yeah, I'm one, and I mean, and well, I ain't gonna sit up here and pat myself all over the back, but I do know that my guys is gonna have what it takes. They're gonna get all that fire. Because loco, that's what I do, man. Now, I mean, right now I'm sitting at home. Man, I took a bath, I groomed up, I showered, I combed my hair, I brushed my teeth, I put on some clothes. My wife said, "Damn, where you going? You act like you going to the studio or something." You know? I said, "Well, dang, man, when I'm getting ready to do an interview. Well, dang, you gonna do the interview at home, you know? Well, look, I ain't gonna get I was always not to get caught with my drawers down when I was a hustler out in the
Right,
street.
right,
You
right.
know? so so I stay prepared. Preparation is the key. Bottom line is you always gotta be prepared, no matter what. And they say if you dress when you dress, it make you feel better. Of course,
Yeah.
you look better, you know, and
And
then you could.
you got a lot of experience because I mean, you fought the likes of Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Mike Hunter, Riddick Bowe, Tommy Morrison. My goodness, man, you went through you got some experience on your hands.
Well, the experience I got, man, was what it was that you remember now. I didn't have no managers, man. I took fights. I just took the fights. I wanted to fight, man.
I don't remember which fight it was. You might want to refresh my memory, but I do remember on one of them fights, which you didn't tell nobody anyway, but I think you had a hurt shoulder or something going into one of them fights with
That
one of
was
those
Mike
guys.
Tyson fight. I had a broken shoulder when I
Yeah,
went to the
yeah.
Tyson fight. Yeah. Yeah, I always have to talk about that. I talk about it, man. But what do it mean now? It don't mean nothing, you know. I mean, what it is what it is. My intention was to fight him like Douglas fought him, stick and move and stuff, But unfortunately, and this happened like 6 weeks before the fight, I'm training out in California at Scrapyard out on Hoover Street, where Ken Norton and different ones had trained before, training with the old man Scrapyard and Scrap Iron Johnson, I should say, and preparing for the fight for Mike. And I was working with this kid named Mark Wills who had the style, similar style, and we exchanged punches, man, right hands, and bam, he hit me in my shoulder, man, and my shoulder popped out, and I was really feeling it, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went to a chiropractor instead of a medical doctor, and they took me and I put some mites on it. Went to a one in Hollywood in Melrose, and he put some mites on it. Told me in a couple of days it should be all right. And I mean, that's what happened, man. I fought, and I didn't know it was broke. But I told Angelo about it, and Angelo said, "Pink, you need to pull out a fight." I said, "No, man, I'm gonna beat this guy with my left hand."
Mm.
And so from me moving around, I couldn't move no more. So I had to plant myself and, just use that good jab. And of course, that's what that was my intention.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I went into the fight like that. And I know the first round was crazy. Mike come out and he would cream everybody. So I knew if I get through the first round, I'd be all right. So I got through the first round. Second round, he came out and he tried to act crazy. And, he connected a couple times, but he nothing like the first time. And
Mm.
then the third round, man, well, he couldn't really do nothing. I was stopping all of that.
Mm.
It was like an even round. And the fourth round came about, and I was popping him with the jab and sticking him. And the fifth round, then I won the fifth round, you know, won the fourth, then the fifth round, literally, man, and I told him, I said, "Boy, I said, your buddy's out now." And we went back to the corner, and, inspector came over and said, "Pink, your gloves split." I said, "Man, what in the world you want me to do?" And he told Angelo to cut it off for me. And, bottom line, they took 10 minutes for him to give me another glove, and where I had my momentum going, and I had this knucklehead. He had done pitched this wide, and my experience was playing a part now. So he broke my rhythm, took my play away from me. He then got an opportunity to rest. Get instructions from Kevin Rooney to tell him to jump on me with bad intentions. Well, I'm sitting up there pissed off because I still didn't have no glove after 5, 8, 9, 10 minutes done went by. And then finally they get in, wrap me up, throw it on me, man, and then I have to go out and hear this kid come out, like a wild animal, and I'm sticking and sticking and sticking, and boom, where I was on guard, keeping this right hand up, I gets hit with a shot, and my shoulder pops out, and I get hit with 18 unanswered punches
Yeah.
before I go down. But when
Yeah.
I go down, all I could think about is like, I'm not going to be counted out. So I wanted to get up. I got up. I knew I couldn't continue, but I got up.
Yeah. Referee
And,
waved it off, but you did make it up in time.
yeah. I mean, I wasn't going. I wasn't going to try to fight. I knew that it was done, but I wasn't going to be counted out.
You wanted to at least make it to your feet to say, "Hey, look, I stood here." Now,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
brother wants to know what are your thoughts on Machine Gun Morrison, and also wants to know who had the biggest punch you ever felt.
Well, you know what, man? It was funny, and I'm not even going to go here like I've heard it to say some stuff that I heard about when I fought Morrison, that something about the gloves wasn't up apart and what have you. But I tell you what, when I did get hit by that kid, that was dangerous, man. That was like getting hit with a baseball bat. Um, First round, I got hit with his right hand and it split me. I had 18 stitches. I got hit in the ribs and it raised my leg. Uh, I was told that the gloves wasn't up to par, but that was afterwards. But I'm not making a big deal about it. A win is a win is a win. A loss is a loss. And I'm just glad that I had the opportunity from where I come from and where I've been and the things that I went through and the hell, going through hell and making it back to be able to achieve my goal and my dream and to become the best at what I wanted to be and be here today to talk about it.
Definitely, man. I gotta put my boy on the spot here though. Tito Ocasio, that's my homeboy. How was it training him? I know you trained him once upon a time for a little while, didn't you? I gotta put it out there.
Yeah, yeah, and it was funny, man. Tito, because I've been around so many people. I trained so many, and I've had kids in the lockup and programs and level 8, level 6. And then I had people in midnight basketball who grown up. I see them today, 25 years later, you know. And so I see Tito, and Tito said, Pink, man, you remember me? And he made me remember him,
Yeah,
because talked about the gym here in Orlando,
yeah.
scrap yard. And I said, yeah, man, because he used to box with one of my fighters. And yeah, tough scrapper, young scrapper, but one thing he told me that I didn't even realize, he said that at the gym, because guys had to pay gym dues or what have you. Uh, and I trained him. He told me I trained him for nothing. He told me, he said, man, Pink, you never took my money. He said, well, I couldn't. He said, I didn't have it. He said, and I know, I remember he would come around, he would stand, I know what you're doing. He said, man, look here, come on, get dressed. Let's do this anyway. And I put him in and let him work and what have you. And as you say, one day after about 2 or 3 months, he disappeared. And when he disappeared, I never heard nothing else from him.
Mhm.
So now I bump heads with Tito. Where the hell? I can't even remember where the hell I was at. And then Tito tell me the story. And he grabbed me and he hugged me, man. He's just thinking about me. Pink, man. You just don't know every day, man. And I'm saying, well, he said, you looked out for me when nobody else would and stuff. And then he was telling me the story. And then he told me about, he had called a case.
Right, Right.
in that gang thing trip, you know. But now, of course, he's a good
Those were some
man.
days.
He's a good man. He's a godly man now. He handles his business, and I'm very proud of him. He got a beautiful wife who's on the Osceola Police Department, and they're just a magnificent couple.
Yeah, you already know. If you knew his story, you knew mine. Like I said, it was pretty identical, just in different little worlds. Tito's a real good close friend of mine, and I'm happy he's got that gym down there in Ocala, Florida. Which, by the way, folks, he does come down to that gym and do some training also there too. He's from Pontiac, Michigan, but is living and residing in Orlando, Florida right now, and makes that trip from Orlando down there to do that, man. So, man, I appreciate you all the time. You know that.
Yeah, man. It's and I do it on my own expense, and I do it, and it can get kind of pricey sometimes, but I just try to give back, man. You give back in some way or the other without expectation. God bless you,
Oh yeah,
because the main thing you got to do, you got to keep trying. I just keep trying to pass it on. I got a couple of good fighters. I got a fighter now that Tito has.
Danny,
Yeah,
Danny.
Danny. You know Danny?
I don't. I see. We was talking about this the other day on the phone when me and you was on the phone call,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
And like, look, man, the times I go there, see, all the fighters are not usually there when I'm there.
yeah,
Usually when I go, I'm there with Carlos Arieta, obviously the 122 pounder,
yeah, yeah.
Jose Ocasio, and Angelina Raza. Which two of them are fighting October 17th in Lakeland, by the way. So anybody in the Florida area, man, get your tickets for them fights, man.
Right. Yeah. So Danny is supposed to be on a show. It's October, November. I'm getting him ready now. He boxed day before yesterday. I had him boxing up. So when Tito, because he's in Kissimmee, Tito's in
Yeah,
and I'm in, I'm on the east side of
right.
Orlando. So I called Danny. Meet me at your gym. I'll take my fighter. I box him. I tighten up his style. I push him. I get his conditioning up. I make sure that he's got. And man, he's so grateful, man. He could. Matter of fact, it was a couple of days ago we boxed. He boxed hard. I trained him, and his wife was there, and it was nice. And he stopped me, man. I'm getting ready to go. And he said, "Pink." I said, "Yeah, man." He was in the ring. He do his own sit ups. He just after I put him through, he still just stay in there and do his thing. And he said, "Pink, I just want to let you know something." I said, "What, buddy? What's going on?" I thought he was going to tell me something wrong. He
Right.
said, "I want to let you know that I really appreciate you. Man, you just don't know how much. And I just want to thank you so much." And I'm saying, "Okay, man, don't worry about it. It's all good, man, And he said, "Man, I just, you just don't know how much this means to me. And I mean, that was great though. I got a kick out of that, because he was showing his gratitude, how grateful he was for what it was worth.
Definitely, definitely.
So I got a kick out of that. But he's a good kid, man. I just want to keep doing what I got to do, man. Here in sunny Florida, man, and enjoying the weather and just laying and kicking back. This is our first day on a Saturday afternoon. I'm able to just kind of sit back and relax and have a good time, man. To myself, I'm all by myself, man. My wife and daughter's gone, and I'm sitting here, and man, I don't even know what the hell to do.
I sort of know the answer to this question, man. Like I said, he's training a fighter out of the same gym I'm at, man. But he wants to know any up and coming prospect he has an eye on, or someone he thinks will shake up the boxing world. Which I think Carlos Arieta is going to be the one for me right now, man. From what I'm seeing, that nobody's paying attention to, that has, his ceiling is high. But I'll let you answer with your version of it.
Come on with the fighters that's coming up today,
Right.
or with the fighters that Tito have, or what?
I think he's talking about overall, man. But I know that's kind of, I'll let you answer, however you want to answer that one. Who do you think is going to shake up the world, that's out of the prospects that maybe somebody's not paying attention to? I answered Carlos Arieta, even though he's out of the same gym. I just genuinely believe that nobody's paying attention to him, and he's a really good talent. But there are other fighters out there that people need to keep an eye on, and he just wanted to know who you thought might be someone to keep an eye on that maybe others ain't paying attention to.
Well, young man, whoever I may be speaking with or about, and to be honest with you, I'm being very honest and frank with you, that I haven't really followed the game too much to know who's who and what's what in the game today. But all I do know is that um, whoever you see that's really sharp and you see on the fight build up or you hear about them, how they're preparing themselves and they're training, they're continually to do the right thing and they're eating good, they're sleeping good, and they ain't hanging out and they ain't in no wars or nothing, and they're just doing what they got to do. Go with the one who's prepared. Go with the one who's showing you that great expertise. Go with the one who got a good trainer and is putting it into them. Listen to what their people are talking about. Where the kid and how he's coming along, how he's training himself, and and then be the judge. I can't judge something that I don't really know. I couldn't tell you that. All I can talk about is the ones that I would deal with myself. But preparation is the key. And you see a kid that's out there that's real sharp and he's putting into it, he's getting to the grind. But if you're gonna do anything, yeah, put all your cheese on the one who you think is really, putting it out there.
Well, I know firsthand because I know I got access to Carlos Arieta. This is why I mentioned him, man, because that guy doesn't take a day off. He's never far off weight all year round. Anytime he's called upon, he stays ready, man. I mean, the dude is a freak of nature, in my opinion.
See, that's what it takes, loco. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. You cannot miss a beat in this sport. This is the only sport that you gotta do 24/7. 24/7. Even when you're off, when you're on your when you just had that major fight and you just want to cool out for a little bit. You need to eat right. You need to sleep right. You need to carry yourself right. You know, you got to keep yourself right in the public eye. You can't disrespect. You can't show no disrespect. You got to respect. Everything falls back on you, man. You looked at like under a microscope. It becomes a real tough game. And you got to be the performer. Like, it's you. It's uno numero number one because it's only you. It ain't nobody else. Once you go into the ring, man, it's only you. You don't have nobody to back you up, to stand in for you, to fill in for you, to change your spot. One thing you have is that when you go back to the corner, you got somebody in there who's looking at the other guy and looking at you and looking at their breathing and their technique, who can give you what you can't see.
Correct.
But after that, it's all about you. Got to go back in and go back to war. And if you're not batting 150, hey, you out of gas.
Definitely. And I want to clear something up, man. When I mentioned that, because y'all know, well, the ones that know me know I'm involved with a lot of boxers, man. When I said Carlos Arieta, I mean somebody that ain't being spoken about. Because I know there's a lot of other prospects out there that got a lot of talent, but they're being spoken about and they're getting some limelight. So I don't want that to be misinterpreted or anything like that. I'm talking about ones that are not getting attention when I
Well,
said
I'm gonna
that.
tell you something, man. Since you've been talking about this kid, now that's the first thing on my mind now. As a matter of fact, I got to call Tito anyway to talk to him about Danny, And yeah, I'm gonna be checking him out. Matter of fact, I'm surely gonna be at his fight when he fight now. You done talked about him so much, man. It's all stuck in my head, and that's the way it go, man. So you got all that confidence in this kid, man. Now you done turned me on to him, man. I'm excited myself. I want to see, because I want to see the kid who's training, giving it 150, not taking no breaks, always prepared. At the,
That's what you're gonna find with him.
yeah, that's what I want to see, man. Because I mean, like you say, I only had 3 amateur fights in 2.5 months. 6 months later, I turned pro. 5.5 years later, I was world champion. And I had 2 years of contractual disputes in between that, where I was suspended and I couldn't even fight, all over the United States for about a year. I couldn't fight, man. Uh, and all I could do was stay ready. So I just stayed in the gym. I was under Georgie Benton. And he just told me, Pink, just stay here in the gym. Just stay in the gym. He had me boxing. I became sparring partners. I was sparring partner for a lot of guys who was coming up, getting their fights on. But all I could do is just stay ready. And man, when the opportunity comes for me to be able to fight, they called me. Hey man, they thought they hadn't heard nothing about me. They said, man, well, I know what it was. Let's call this guy Pinklon Thomas. He got a good record. He ain't been busy. He ain't been doing nothing. Let's jump on him. See, let me tell you something, Loco. That's what's going to happen with Danny. Danny got a 6-6 record with 1 knockout. But, buddy, what they don't know, Danny never been in shape. Took fights on short notice just for the money. Never prepared. Didn't never have nobody who could really give him 150. Okay? Now I'm giving Danny what he needs. Man, let me tell you something. Danny can punch like hell. That one little knockout that he got out of 12, 13 fights, he's going to have people just going to be going crazy jumping on him. But then when they jump in, they're going to jump the hell back. Because this boy, if he's in condition, if he's sharp and he's conditioned, and have someone who can tell him you can do it, because his spirit is down, man.
Yeah,
There's
we had
no
this
confidence.
conversation last night about box rec, didn't we? Me and you. We was talking on the phone about the box rec, that people don't look at the backstory. All they see is numbers.
Yeah. And like I say, that's what's gonna happen with this kid. They're gonna look at him and say, "Oh man, he's a dud. We can take advantage of him." And I mean, I love it. I love it. I mean, I like training him better than training an undefeated guy. Somebody who's because I'm always the underdog. I like the underdog, man. Because
Definitely.
when I was coming up, man, when everybody was fighting on USA and ESPN, and then they was going to the networks, the ABC, NBC, CBS. Then they was going to HBO and Showtime. Man, I was still fighting club shows when they was making big money. I was making peanuts, you know, and but a year later, because of my grinding and staying on top of it, man, a year later, I was in the same arena with these guys.
Yes,
And
sir.
they didn't want to get close to me. And they managers of trainers, of course, didn't want to get close to me, you know? So yeah, I learned a lot in this game. I learned from guys in the old school, man, and I really get a kick out of it, man. And I apply all of them principles that I learned in boxing. I apply them to life now. I apply my principles that I learned in boxing to always be prepared, to be on guard. The way I lived, you know how I lived. I had my day coming up and growing up. Always had to watch my back, you know. Couldn't never get cold with my drawers down. If I did,
Definitely,
that might
especially
have
over
been
here
it,
pitching.
you know.
Yo,
So you learn how to watch your back. You watch yourself at all times, at all costs, you know. And so I live like that today. I try to just, keep my eye on the ball and stay a step ahead. And I ain't trying to outlive nobody. I ain't trying to be Mr. Wealthy. I ain't trying to flash and because it ain't about that, man. It's about just being comfortable and being happy. And I'm happy, man. I got a beautiful wife. I got a beautiful home. She's taking care of me, man. Oh my God. I don't need nothing, man. If I tell her I need something, man, it's coming in the house. She's taking care of me, man. You know what I'm saying?
no doubt, champ, no doubt.
I contribute. We put it all together. I just do your thing, baby. You do what you do on the inside of the house. I don't have line guys. I did. I had people to come. I don't have people doing all that for me now. I do it for myself. I get
Definitely,
out. I do my own yard. I like to keep in shape. I got my own training set up, man. I do my own thing. When I don't want to go to the gym, I don't go to the gym. Forget about the gym. I ain't got to go and listen to all that crap people talk about, that what's theirs and show their strength. Hey, one thing I did that I know a lot of them haven't done, and like I always tell them, they call me champ, not chump.
that's right.
So I ain't got to be treated like no champ, no chump. You know, I'll just keep myself in a position to be champ. you know, and the way I do that is to live like a champ, to eat like a champ, to train like a champ, to think like a champ. And if I can do that, it ain't about trying to be. You ain't got to have all the money in the world. You ain't got to have the big house. You ain't got to have all the cars. You ain't got to flash all of that to show that you're great. You're the best. You're a champ to me if you're doing what you got to do, giving it 150. I don't care if you're in high school. I don't care if you're in elementary school. I don't care if you're in college and these are champions that's coming up, that's giving it their all, working their butt off, just doing what they got to do. I watch my daughter every day, man. I'm so proud of her because, around the clock, I mean, God, no break, man. I get tired of looking at her doing what she's doing and going through, but this is what she wants. And I train another girl. It's the same way. She's the same way, man. I got this test. It's running me crazy, but I got to keep doing it. I got to get, hey, that's what I'm talking about. You just got to keep doing it. If you want to be the best, you got to work harder than the rest.
Definitely. Oh, his phone might have. You there?
I'm here,
Okay.
man.
Hey,
I
man,
just
let me
in it.
tell you something, man. I owed you this a long time ago, but we kept talking about it, man. I kept having schedule issues and stuff. So I finally went ahead. We finally got together on this, man, because I don't want people to forget who Pinklon Thomas is and who Pinklon Thomas was to boxing and stuff like that. And I'd like to give you one last time on the floor to let these fans and beautiful people that are watching, some last words for them.
Well, first of all, I got a book out. It's called Back from the Edge of Hell. And you can get that book on Amazon. Just type in Amazon and go to it and you order it. You just get it back from the edge of hell. Second of all, um, I'm in the Florida Box Hall of Fame. I was in the first group of them, 2009. with Angelo, Dr. Freddie Pacheco, Bobby Goodman, you name it, some of the greats that was in there. And so that's going on. We usually would have it June, the third week of June, but now because of the COVID and all of that stuff, we're having it the 6th, 7th, and 8th of November. So I'd like for you to come out for that because that's going to be a great thing. And that's where I'm going to be, and that's where I'm going to be doing my thing and being a part of that. And hey, third of all, just hey, whatever you want to do and whatever you want to be, and I don't care how old you are, and you know, in preparation in this time right now, a lot of people just sitting around and they ain't doing nothing. They coming up with different things to do, got different ideas. Put your ideas together. Put your thinking cap on, and at the same time, put it to work. Don't just talk about it. Be about it. Move full speed ahead, full fast and effect. Don't stop. Don't. You might have to stop for a minute, but look, keep going. Keep going, keep hustling, keep working, no matter what. No matter what. No matter what. Do what you got to do. Take a break, start back up again. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. It goes to the young, go to the old. When you're talking to your young, when you're talking to your brother, you're talking to your sister. I'm 32 years in recovery. Talk about addiction. Please call me if you want somebody to talk. That's my job. That's what I do. That's the way I live. I drink coffee. That's what I do. I don't smoke no. I don't drink. I don't use drugs. I don't smoke no weed. I don't like that oil. I don't like none of that stuff. They even talking about doing something bringing boxing in and not making that aspect of not being able to fight because they saying that the stuff is legal. I think it's BS, because there's nowhere in God's history that you ain't gonna pay me enough money to take a drink, to take a drug, to lift up a smoke a joint. I don't need that no more because I know what it did to me. History speaks for itself, everything must change and all that stuff. But I'm an old fool from the old school, living by the golden rule, just doing what I got to do. And I just want to thank you, Loco, for having me on, man. We've been talking about this, man, and you say, Pink, we're going to have you on, and we just going to kick it. And I'm just glad I had the opportunity to do that, man.
I told you it was gonna be just like our phone conversations, like our normal conversations on the block, man. Wasn't nothing gonna be different. It's just everybody else was gonna get a chance to see it, let and hear your stories and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I told you wasn't gonna nothing change.
Yeah, Loco.
But I appreciate you stopping by, man. Appreciate everybody that tuned in, man. The great Pinklon Thomas was with us today.
Hey, Loco, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you, man. And thank you, everybody. And God bless you. And be careful and be safe in this COVID.